Good morning, everybody. This is Stephen Pugh of the Home Bible College. I'll just get back to the beginning of the passage. We have today, on March the 27th, the life and the ministry of Gideon, the judge, and it begins in Judges chapter 6. Now the children of Israel had done evil in the sight of the Lord, and the Lord had brought upon Israel a great army. He brought the Midianites, and they oppressed Israel for 7 years. The Amalekites joined them, and they were huge in number. And they destroyed all of the crops of Israel. They took away all the sheep and all the oxes and all the asses, and the children of Israel were starving. However, in their oppression, they finally came to call upon the name of the Lord. And when they called upon the name of the Lord heard them, and he came to deliver them. First of all, a prophet rose up to speak to them, an unnamed prophet. We just know that he spoke, and he told them the bare truth. He says, "You have not obeyed my voice." And then an angel of the Lord is sent to Gideon, who's threshing wheat in the winepress. Now Gideon was a mighty man of God, but he was a very insignificant person in his father's house, and his father's house was only a small family. But he had managed to keep his wheat from being taken, and he was now threshing it in the winepress so that the Midianites wouldn't see. The angel of the Lord appeared to him and called him a mighty man of valor. "The Lord is with thee." And Gideon says, "Well, if the Lord was with us, then we would not have the Midianites here." And the Lord said to him, "Go in this thy might, you will save Israel from the hand of the Midianites. Have I not sent thee?" And he says, "O Lord, how shall I know," he says, "that you will save me? Because my family is poor in Manasseh, and I am the least in my father's house." Often when God is going to move, he takes the most insignificant person, and he takes the youngest in the family, and those that have nothing in themselves, he takes them, and he is going to use Gideon to bring about a great victory. And first of all, Gideon says, "Can you give me a sign?" Now, the first sign we often think about with Gideon is the fleece, but that's not the sign here. This is something that comes later. Gideon makes a small meal of meat and of cakes and of some soup, and he pours it out upon a rock before the angel of the Lord, and the angel of the Lord touches it, and fire comes out of the rock and consumes it. This is the sign of Gideon. And Gideon calls the name of the place Jehovah Shalom, which is "the Lord is my peace," because the Lord said to him, "Peace be unto thee." So Gideon first of all takes 10 men in the night, and he takes his father's 2 bulls. One's a young bullock of only 7 years, and he smashes the altar of Baal, and he cuts down the grove, which was a place of worship to Baal. And in the morning, everybody knows who did it. It's Gideon, the son of Joash, and they come to take him. And he says, no, don't you speak for Baal. Let Baal speak against me. And of course, Baal is a dumb idol. Nobody is going to do that. Then it says in verse 34, it says, "The Spirit of the Lord came upon him, and he blew a trumpet." You see, the most important thing in Gideon's life was not just his battle. The most important thing at the very beginning was that the Spirit of the Lord came upon him in a special way. He was an anointed one. The Spirit of the Lord came upon him, and this is the time when he puts out the fleece, and twice he puts it out, and the Lord answers his prayer, confirms his prayer. And then Gideon then takes the Gideon then, the Lord says to Gideon, "There's too many of you, there's too many." There were 35,000 soldiers, and the Lord says, "It's too many. Tell all those that are fearful and afraid to go home." And 22,000 left to go home. 22,000. It's a huge amount. And they were only left 10,000. So the Lord said to Gideon, there's still too many, so you need to go down to the brook and let them drink, and those that lift up the water to their mouth to drink, he says, I'll have those. And there's only 300 of them. So 300 men, and the most insignificant man in Israel, are going to go out against Midian and Amalekites, who are such great in number that nobody could even count them. The Lord says to Gideon, I want you to go down into the camp. I've got something to tell you and something to show you. He says, take somebody with you if you're not sure. So he takes a man with him, and they go down, takes Pugh with him, and there's a man there talking to his fellow, and he says, I had a dream last night. I had a dream that there was a barley cake which tumbled into the host of Midian, and it smashed a tent, and the tent lay on the ground. And his friend turned to him and he said, this is the sword of Gideon, because God has sent Gideon to totally destroy us. Now this gave to Gideon the courage to speak and to go forth. So he takes the 300, he divides them into 3 companies, and he says, listen, when we go down into the host of the Midianites, look at me and do exactly as I do. If you copy me, we'll all do it together. And they go down in the middle of the night, and they smash their pots, and they light their flares, and they shout the sword of the Lord and of Gideon, and everybody stood up in his tent and fled. The whole of the Midianites and the Amalekites fled. And Gideon sent messengers throughout all of Mount Ephraim, said, come and help us to kill the Midianites and take revenge. And the men of Ephraim said, why are you doing this to us? They're only going to come back and destroy us. And he says, no. They continued to chase them and chase them and chase them, but they became faint, even though in pursuing them. And he came to Succoth, and he says, give us loaves of bread for those that follow me, because they're faint. And the men of Succoth say, no, we can't do that. The Midianites will catch us and kill us if we give you help. And so Gideon says, well, I'll come back and I will punish you severely for refusing to give us bread. And then he goes to Penuel, and again the people there refuse to give him bread, and he says, when I come back I will destroy your tower. Eventually he does come back, and he punishes the men of Succoth very severely, and he destroys the tower as he said he would. But they take all of the gold, and they take all of the things that belong to the Midianites, and these things that were taken from the Midianites, they become a snare to the children of Israel. That's quite a sad thing. But at the end of the battle, the children of Israel say to Gideon, will you rule over us? Will you become our king? And he says, no, I will not rule over you. The Lord will rule over you. We learn at a later date that Gideon's son did take the throne for a brief period of time and ruled over Israel, but it was not successful, and it was only for a short time. So the first king of Israel was not Saul, but Gideon's son. So there we are. That's the story of Gideon. This is the material that fires us all. This is the victories of the Lord, in which he, through faith and through courage and through trusting in God, victory was able to be secured. What a wonderful story. I look forward to speaking to you all again tomorrow. Have a wonderful day. Bye for now.